Hey there, Carm3D with you. You know where. This is for my cinema riggers. As you know, I passed out this new version of the model. He's got eyes and teeth and all that now. Doesn't have a tongue yet, but you can make a tongue if you want him to have a tongue. Anyway, I wanted to show you what I've done so far. Basically, just putting him into a structure that's better for rigging, as far as using the bones to actually move the geometry. You can see that I created a null here called guy. That's the parent of everything. And there's guy rig has another null, it's a child of that. And of course all your joints go in there. And there's another, I should probably call this guy geometry. And then here's the skin right there. Hypernerved. And I added a camera and a couple lights so it looks prettier. I took the teeth and I chopped them up into upper and lower teeth. You know how to do that. You just select the polygons, then copy it, paste it to another object. The teeth upper are a child of the head bone. By the way, I made a very, very, very simple joint rig. I mean, there's the body, neck, and head, and there's another one for the jaw. So what I did was I picked. So the teeth, the upper teeth is the child of the head bone. The lower teeth is the child of the jawbone, and then the two eyes are children of the head bone. So anyway, sorry I did all that off camera. I picked the skin, and then I used Control-click to select the body rig, the body joint, the neck joint, and the head joint, and the jaw joint right there. And notice I'm not selecting every single joint because there is a joint here at the end of the head bone which completes that head joint, but this is not going to be doing anything as far as moving the geometry goes, so I didn't select that. So I just got these 4 joints here, and I went into the character commands and then bind. And basically what that did is it gave me a very simple weighing of the joints based on their distance. So it's not super clean, but it's working. And if I choose the jawbone, it's working even worse. As you can see, it's moving the entire front of his face. Let me show you in a different view. So you can see it's basically based on its proximity and size. It attached those polygons to the jawbone, which is nowhere near what we want, but it's a start. So I'm going to next show you a bit about weight painting. I have made a little short animation. I've animated the head bone, basically looking up like that. And the reason why I did that is so that when I paint my weights, I can see how they will be affected. This should be more obvious to you in the coming moments. First thing I'm going to do, I already did this actually, but I'll just do it again. Character, weight tool. And then I'm going to go to my character guy skin and turn off hypernerves. So now you can see how it is shading the color of the bone into the geometry, the influence of it. So I got the guy head. If I select different joints like the neck or the body, you can see how that it's painting the influence. We do it over here. The neck, the body, the head, and the jaw. So it's all these bones that have their influence is being painted on the geometry. So let's select the head and start cleaning this up. So basically it's giving me a little paintbrush pointer. And let me go back in here so I can see my options. Okay, so preview we want on. Auto normalize is important. What that means is every point on your geometry, let me do it over here so it's a little easier to see. Every point, like this is a point, this is a point, will have various joints influencing it. And all of these joints, total influence will become 100%. So you can see right now, yeah, it's actually showing me a little pop-up text as I hover over each point. So you can see that the head bone has 7.3% influence on this particular point, which also means that the other bones collectively will have 92.7%, or give or take, if my math is correct in my head, influence on this point. So if I go over here and say strength to 100%, additive mode, and maybe I'll just choose absolute mode and start painting, you can see now when I hover over it, it says 100% for that point, which also tells us that because this is auto-normalized, that none of these other bones are affecting it. Let's just paint more of these points. And in fact, I'm going to go to my first frame where he's looking straight ahead, and I'm going to look in the side view. Oh, this is different. That's better. Okay, so I'm going to turn visible only off so that when I do this in the side view, I know I'm painting straight through to the back side of his head. And I'm sure there's a symmetry mode in here. In fact, here it is, so you can enable symmetry. And by the way, while I'm here, symmetry single mode is what I would be doing right now if I'm painting something where I want one side to be painted exactly like the other side. But if I am painting weights for the joint on an eyelid, for example, I would have one eyelid on one side and another on the other side, and of course another one for the lower eyelid, what have you. But if I was doing that, I would choose probably name, and then I would type a filter like lid R maybe, or I guess that's the left side, so I'd say lid left, lid R, and you know, choose the axis and all that stuff, but not doing that here, so I'll just go back to single. Okay, now I know that my entire head is pretty much 100%, and now of course to test that I can look in my animation preview, but also keep in mind that we also have that jawbone sticking there, so that's going to pull any of the points up with the head along with it, because it is after all a child of the head. But I'm pretty sure, just basing on the preview we're looking at, that everything is 100%, and I turned visible only off so that I know I was painting through to the points on the inside of his mouth and the points on the inside of his eyelids, stuff like that, nostrils. But as I scrub, I can see that the head is pretty much moving along. So now what we can do is go to his neck area and do some adjustments to smooth out the fall off of that bone. Actually, what I might want to do is, since I know that that jawbone is influencing these guys in some way, I might just select that jawbone and just paint everything over in absolute mode just to get rid of any influence of that jawbone on the rest of his body. Choose his neck here. And 100% absolute. Yeah. So I think I will pause the video while I continue working on his... Yeah, I just made a mistake. Continue working on his neck and then the body, and then I'll come back and go into further detail in the jaw. Okay, I've got the 3 basic areas blocked out. I got the body and neck and the head. Oops, the head. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if I multi-select these, you can see them more than one at a time, like so. And with my weight tool freshly selected, I can go into the options and choose the smooth mode. And now as I paint here, maybe I would want to lower the strength a bit. It is smoothing around the influence as it goes from one joint to the other. And unfortunately, Cinema's interface is fighting me tooth and nail as far as being able to navigate around this stuff, so I hope you have better luck with that than I am having. But there we go. So you can see as I stroke there, these lines are moving back because they are blending between the head and the neck. So it's kind of like a relaxing process. And if you find that it's gone too much in one direction, you can simply pick one bone or the other and go down to a small amount of influence and just say add, and then you can tweak away. So that's that part. Now let me I'm going to do this fairly rough because we have a lot of stuff to cover in this video. But I think the first thing I'll do is remove the animation of this head joint. Okay, there's no more animation there. Let's pick the jaw joint. Okay, I should have now I have a simple animation with him opening and closing his jaw. I could even do a little wiggle. Like so. Because you have the ability to rotate your jaw thusly. Okay. So now when I start my weight painting again, with this jawbone I can now stroke. This might be a little messy because it's, maybe I want to like close it up a little bit. And oh yeah, I had this strength set to a low setting. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's wonderful. It's painting on his shoulder for some reason. Oh, I had visible only was off. That's why. That was a mistake. That was a tactical error. Okay, well, we have the start of something happening here. What you basically need to do is, well, first of all, let me grab these guys. There we go. I think you can kind of see where I'm heading with this. Right now I'm painting 100% on everything, which is just basically giving me on or off type painting operation, which is going to be very mechanical. So what I'm going to do next is switch to 50%. And if you might be able to see, I have an edge loop going right down the middle of his mouth, starting from the corner of his lips, and it's running out there. So with 50% there, I know I can pretty much assign 50% to that row of points. And I can have it dissolve out the black out here. And I can, let me push this out to like the frame 30. You'll have to forgive me because this is very different from the way I typically rig. And you know, Lightwave does a whole different approach to this. Okay, these guys here, let's choose 69 for these points here. 69, dude. And on top of everything else, the way that Cinema is doing its viewport navigation is just ridiculous. I cannot get anywhere I want to look. Alright, so I'm having trouble getting to this point, which is actually a good thing to show. Let me back out here a little bit. You can see the polygons of his lips are obscuring this point back here that I wanted to get to, so I'm going to switch to a different view mode, like lines, maybe? Here's the point right here. Oh, I got to turn visible only off. And I might want to lower my radius so I don't accidentally pick a point elsewhere. Okay, that's good. That's better. Okay, so I know that this line in the middle of his mouth is 50%. Go back to absolute mode. 50% strength. Sorry, I'm not showing you that. That's better. It looks like I accidentally... Yeah, so lowering the radius helped out a lot with that. So I want to get to that inside of his mouth if I can. Okay, this guy will be that 69 again. And basically what I'm doing is I am going to transition from 50% being the center line all the way down to 100%, which would be here. But actually what I might want to do is have this be, say, 90%, because there's going to be some pull from the rest of the face is pulling up on this upper lip. Even as he lowers his jaw, there'll be some tension pulling this lower lip up higher as he lowers his mouth, as he lowers his jaw rather. So I think what I will do now is stop the recording and continue to tweak the painting here. So I'll see you on the other side of the edit. Okay, I'm not done, but I just wanted to show you what I've been doing for a while here. I'm going into add mode, and I'm putting the strength at like 10%, very low. And as you can see, my radius is very small, and I've just been basically going from point to point. And let me scrub through the animation here, just making tweaks. Okay, I can see that if you look at this point right here as I scrub, you can see that this one goes down a little further than this one, so I'm just going to add a little bit, or maybe 10% was a little too much. So let's go down to 3%, put another one here just to smooth that out. And maybe I will choose subtract, or erase rather, on that one that was too much. There we go. Now let's look around here. We definitely have an issue. Oh, this interface, I tell you, it's the worst. Okay, we have an issue here. So this is all jawbone in here. This should be fairly keeping its shape. More so than it is now. So I'm going to go to add mode and just put some strokes on these points here to it's getting a little squished in here. That's a little better. Sometimes it's hard to see exactly where the points are. And just moving around here is just the worst. There we go. Oh, jeez. I pray that you do not have the same issue with rotation that I'm having. Sometimes it works great. You hold down the Alt key and you click and drag, and it will pick whatever surface you have picked and rotate around that point of the surface. But for now, it's not doing it. It's just insisting on this X that is right here in the middle of nowhere, and it will not reassign that anchoring rotation. If any cinema users are watching this, please tell me how to fix that, because that is really trying my patience. Let's subtract a little bit here. Even less. Go down to 3% strength. That's not bad. I gotta fix the points on this if I can get to them. Oh, okay. Getting closer. Come on. There we go. I gotta get to these points here on the front of his neck. Yeah. Okay, we need a little more here. So let's increase my strength a little bit. Now I know it's going to be even more complex for you guys because you're going to have the neck muscles. You'll have like a bone here, a bone here. For me, I just have a single neck bone, but sternomastoids. Yeah, it's looking better. It's not great. A little more right here. These guys should be all 100%. I'll select absolute here. Go back to additive mode. It's pretty good. I think this point needs a little bit less. Go to erase mode. Okay. I got a lot of cleanup to do on the inside of his mouth. But navigating around this stuff is such a pain. Actually, I guess I did a fair amount of the cleanup on the inside of his mouth. I hid his lower teeth. It's actually pretty good. Let's see if I can back out. And yeah. Okay, so now we got 50% here. I want to have the remainder of this influence all the way around to his lips, so I will pause the video while I do some more tweaking there. Okay, lucky me, my video screen recorder crashed, so I lost that last segment of the video, so I have to recap everything I talked about. Isn't this great? Okay, first of all, visible only, I turned that on. No, wait. Not that one. In here. Draw all joints. I turned that on. Before it was doing one joint at a time, like so. Come on. Okay, but if you turn on draw all joints in the display tab here, it draws them all at one time, so that even if you're working on the head bone or the jawbone, you can still see them all being shaded, and so it's a little easier to see in that respect. Another thing I do, I forgot to mention notice when he opens his jaw, and that's pretty much as wide as his mouth is going to get, I think. Yeah, it's pretty much up against the neck at that point. Maybe a little wider, but anyway, when he opens up his jaw that wide, it doesn't really look natural. It's like something is off. It looks like a doll or something like that. And the reason why is because when we do this kind of thing, our cheeks hollow out because this whole area is getting stretched. So instead of this line going around like this, it would go around like that, something like that. So what you would do is you would make a morph that would pull his cheeks in as his jaw opens up. But we will deal with morphs in a future video. And another thing I do in Lightwave that you can choose to do here or not, it's up to you, is because of the nature of this being 50%, this being 100% or a little bit less, and as I mentioned, I might want to have a little bit of pull on his upper lip as he opens his mouth up. I don't have that yet. But you get into very, very minute changes. So what I do in Lightwave to open up the range that I can work with is to make a secondary jawbone that would follow the main jawbone with a constraint, a 50% constraint, so that when this rotates so much, this 50% jawbone would rotate half as much, and I would use that 50% jaw to weight this center line going down the corner of his mouth to 100%. And then that can dissolve out to being 100% of the jawbone in this direction, and then from 100% down to 0 or close to it, traveling up to the top of his upper lip. So that's up to you if you want to do that. I find that it helps me in Lightwave, but it may not be such of a difference in cinema. I do not know. So you can experiment with that on your own. I could call this done. I do want to have a bit of pull on his lip here. What I might do is just real quickly say 1% and then just paint this whole area. I'm going to choose absolute mode. And if it weren't so painful to rotate, I would go and do the back of his lip, but I'm not going to because cinema is just fighting me tooth and nail on this. So you can see now, I don't have it up here, but go to additive mode for these guys. Now he's got a little bit of pull, and some of these guys need to come down a little further. Opening his mouth pulls his upper lip down a little bit. So yeah, I think this point right here should be lessened a little bit. But yeah, you do get into very subtle changes when you get down to the last parts of your fine-tuning. So I think that's good enough for just a demonstration of how this works. I would be more generous if Cinema was not being such a pain in the butt with this navigation issue. But I think this is sufficient to give you an idea of how it works. Okay, I guess that's good. I will see you in another video.